This is what happened to the video game industry. The impact of a single mind-blowing visual totally changed. Like, it used to be my whole life when I was a kid, up until, let's say, 2010, if your video games had mind-blowing visuals of what was going on, and the context of which, it's like in a 10-second clip, you see a few still images that represent what the world of the game looks like, and if that world is mind-blowing enough, then you sell your game. That's how it works. And this is a big quantum shift in the video game industry. What happened was, because of video games and other media, which I think were impacted by video games primarily, like video games were the workhorse leading the mind-blowing charge in all media, but things like Family Guy, rap, so animation first, and then other media, and then like Adult Swim is a great example, started to get to be more mind-blowing in their nature, more absurdist, you could say, if you're more academic. But what happened around 2010, 2011, 2012, and had finished happening by 2013, was that people, like all of the people alive interested in video games, had gotten totally used to having their minds blown. It became normal. And it's still cool to have your mind blown, but the point is, a single visual won't do it anymore. I personally don't get blown away by mind-blowing visuals anymore. I think this is a great time to have this conversation because of what happened with No Man's Sky. That game totally delivers on all of its promises. And since you knew that they were trying to sell you something when they were trying to sell it to you, you could have reasonably sat there and gone like, okay, this will be worth it, this won't. And so you kind of knew going into it where it was going to live up to and where it was going to disappoint, I think, just based on the visuals you saw and what the people who stand to gain a lot of money from selling the game said about those visuals. It's like, they're not going to be totally honest. They're going to lie about some stuff, and I don't think the stuff they lied about was that outrageous. Now, the reason why the game itself is outrageous and the game itself is bad, it's not outrageous, but it's a shame. It has all of these myriad different mind-blowing visuals and mind-blowing experiences for divine non-human beings to enjoy with their thousands of hours of life that we don't get. Fallout 4 was the same thing. It's like, guys. It's not about how interesting and captivating each one-off moment is. It's about how you can have those moments occur as frequently as possible during the playthrough. Or, have different kinds of moments. But the way games are now, it's like nothing happens during this merciless slog, aka, like a perfect example would be the Minutemen quest line, and you just sit there doing shit that isn't fun, and then waiting for really fun stuff to occasionally happen. Like, while you're doing a Minutemen quest, you see, like, a building with a ship wedged into, like, the 40th floor, and you're like, I'm gonna go check that out, probably. And then, like, the USS Constitution ends up being one of the most fun quests. So all in all, I thought Fallout was, like, a good game. But, like, disappointing in how much better it could have been if they had just stretched it less thin in terms of total gameplay hours and made it more of a priority to have a lot of moments of connection between the visuals, the gameplay, and the greater story arcs of the world. Because that last thing I said, the greater story arcs of the world, that is something that was, for a long time in video games, just considered like an extra bonus. Like the Mafia series of video games was considered exceptional in that it focused on that element of the game more. And Red Dead Redemption won a lot of awards because not only did it have mind-blowing visuals to a certain extent, it all got tied into a story, a kind of culture within the game that felt so real and yeah, actually pleasant to live in, even though murder is part of the rules because you can't really die and like whatever. So it was pleasant, right? And so the reason I'm bringing this up is now, today, mind-blowing visuals are only a part of video games. They're not the whole point because it's relatively easier to create them. Something like Sith Stalkers, Silt Striders. Like the Silt Striders in Morrowind. Oh my god. Like, I didn't even play that game when it came out. I missed it entirely. Some friends of mine in high school, like, encouraged me to circle back and play it. But if I was playing that game, and I'd just be like, what the fuck is this thing that's gigantic? Oh my god. I've never seen anything like this before in a movie, in comic books, or in real life. This is so worthwhile. But that was in 2002. And so that phenomenon is kind of gone. And what you need now is to have those same kind of moments, but tie them into a storyline which produces a kind of effect with all of these mind-blowing moments, and over the whole playthrough creates a kind of musical symphony, some kind of like novel thing, a story that weaves all of your game hours, which, you know, these game playthroughs are getting to be ridiculous. It's like 2 to 7 days just to knock one of these things out. And so there needs to be and if possible, a lot of attention paid to how the total playthrough feels when everything's said and done, given that people's attitudes aren't going to be so drastically reshaped by a single mind-blowing visual the way they definitely were pretty much the entire video game industry's life up until now. After this kind of quantum shift, paradigm shift in video games, it's really going to be interesting to see who starts doing things right and who doesn't. I think Bethesda is probably poised to like get this the most right, but this is a longer conversation. Yeah, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I love y'all. Bye.